At Wattpad, we believe in the power of stories, the way they shape how we think, the new worlds they create for us to inhabit. From what we read every day, to the movies we watch, to the way brands reach their audience, stories are the anchor behind everything we care about. And Wattpad is where stories live. It's where millions of people around the globe go to connect over the stories they love, and where millions of diverse writers go to find their voice and share their story. Entertainment is in a period of disruption, and how people find and experience stories is evolving. When it comes to turning stories into the entertainment world's next big hit, Wattpad Studios is transforming the entire industry. By leveraging powerful data, our story DNA machine learning technology, and expert curation, Wattpad Studios shines a light on emerging writers, enabling them to find an even bigger audience by connecting their stories with studios, networks, and publishers on the hunt for their next big hit in books, big screens, small screens, and streaming. When a new title is ready to launch, that's where Wattpad brand partnerships comes in. Using a mix of innovative ad products and tailored engagement strategies like writing challenges and contests, Wattpad is able to meaningfully promote these entertainment properties to our already hyper-engaged audience. When Wattpad brand partnerships reignites our audience's love of these stories, these titles achieve mainstream success, making even more of our writers' dreams come true and leading to even more stories on the platform. Because budding storytellers are inspired to become writers, and more readers are able to find their newest story obsession. Wattpad, where stories live. At Wattpad, we believe
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ryan Benitez, and I'm the Talent and Operations Manager of Wattpad in the Philippines, and I will be your host for this event. I'm sure all of you are excited to get writing tips from your favorite Bliss authors, but before I introduce today's panelists, I'd like to take the opportunity to give some Wattpad updates. As you know, Wattpad is available almost anywhere in the world, and there is a Wattpad community across different territories where Wattpadders read and write stories that reflect their race, culture, and current important social issues. And since the inception of Wattpad Studios, we have transformed into an entertainment company. In fact, many of the most watched content you see on television, digital, and even on the silver screen are actually Wattpad stories. Just recently, we have released the movie After We Collided, which is a sequel to the first After movie based on the story by Anna Todd. And in the Philippines, I am proud to say that after more than just a year, and despite the challenges of the new normal, we have released 16 Bliss Books titles in the market. And with that, I'd like to thank you so much for all your love and support to Wattpad and Bliss Books. I'd like to formally welcome you to a love guide from Bliss Books, from Bliss authors, step-by-step new normal writing tips, one of the many virtual events of the 2020 Philippine Readers and Writers Festival, brought to you by National Bookstore with special thanks to Raffles Makati. But before I start, I'd like to invite you to shop for books online on www.nationalbookstore.com and the official NDS store on Shopee. You can also shop from NDS branches via chat to shop on Facebook Messenger and text to order through SMS or Viber. As a special offer, you can get 10% off on local books and 20% off on imported books when you shop online from September 25 to October 4 only. So add to cart and check out now because there are limited stocks available. So to keep the ball rolling, I'm happy to introduce the first of our three panelists. She is an online writer and a multi-published author. She loves different genres and enjoys bantering with her characters privately or on social media. She collects old books, caffeinates daily, ponders about appropriate gist in social postings, and double checks words regularly. She works as an editor, gives free writing tips, and advocates fair contracts for writers. Her ultimate goal is to write to old age with her readers, the ATM. She is the author of Kiss You and Secretly. Please join me in welcoming the cat who doesn't meow. Hello, Jen.
Hello po. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jen. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I believe you're excited to give writing tips to our audience this afternoon. So I'll be giving you the floor. Take it away, Jen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sir Ryan. And hello, everyone. I'm Jen, but I'm known as the cat who doesn't meow of Wattpad. And today, I'd like to talk to you about some tips. So, binigyan kami ng topic, no? And syempre, ang napunta sa akin at ang excited akong i-share sa inyo ay about sa story conceptualization. Ayan. So, now that we're in the new normal, so alam ko yung iba sa atin sobrang dami nating time manood ng movies, makinig ng bagong music, makinig ng podcast and everything. So, marami tayong time mag-isip, marami tayong time sa social media. At ano yung kinalaman niyan sa story conceptualization? Well, if you're a writer of or kung inspired ka, gusto mong maging writer, mabilis kang mag-isip, meron tayong tinatawag na mga story sparks. Ako as a writer, I call it a story spark. Yung iba ang tawag ay mga concept and story ideas, plot bunnies. So for today, so let me call it spark. So pagka nagkaroon tayo ng idea, na gusto nating may nakita tayo, na imagine tayo ng mga scenario or may nakita tayo mga characters, so automatically tinatawag natin yung spark or yung mga story idea. Para siyang mga what if question, mga maliliit na scenario. So paano natin ma-develop yung ating spark into a story? So first, sa akin, we have to know kung ang ating idea ay low concept or high concept. So ano yung ibig sabihin nito? Parang nakaka-intimidate yung word, di ba? So low concept or high concept. But it's as simple as whether yung idea ba natin ay simple o complicated. So when we say it's low concept, it's usually simple, generic, and hard to pitch. So yung hard to pitch is kapag ikukwento natin sa iba, parang hindi ganun ka-interesting yung sa makakarinig. Parang may isip nila, marami ng ganyang kwento. So yun yung low concept. So usually, these stories ay mga romance stories, di ba? Kasi yung mga romance stories ay karaniwan sinasabi natin cliche na or alam na natin yung setup, laging mayamang lalaki, mahirap na babae, arranged marriage, arranged settings, yung ganyan. Low concept ideas, madalas na sinasabi. And then we have high concept ideas. Sa high concept ideas naman, ito yung mga, yung high concept na tinatawag natin, ito yung mga idea na fresh, interesting, original, easy to pitch kasi ang bilis niyang makakuha ng interest dun sa nakikinig. So kung sasabihin ko sa'yo na, alam mo, meron akong nakitang story, tapos sa story na yon merong mga astronaut na nagpunta sila sa Mars. Pero nung paalis na sila, nagkaroon ng aberya sa Mars. Nung paalis na sila, naiwan doon yung isang astronaut. So paano siya magsusurvive? Wala nang laman yung naiwan sa kanya na yung naiwan sa kanyang sasakyan, wala nang laman, wala siyang fuel, hindi niya alam paano siya magna-navigate pabalik sa Earth. So pag kinuwento ko sa iyo yung ganong idea, 'di ba, para okay, anong mangyayari sa kanya? Paano siya magso-survive? Paano siya magtatanim doon? Alam natin barren yung Mars, parang ganyan. So itong kwento na to, hindi ko siya kwento, okay? Hindi ko siya kwento, mga kabayan. Ito ay kwento ng The Martian, 'di ba? Siya ang usually yung mga sci-fi stories, adventure stories, mga dystopian stories, speculative fiction. Usually mga high concepts stories ito. So ngayon, kung alam na natin na yung ating story spark ay low concept or high concept, paano pa natin siya palalaguin? So here we go from concept to the storyline. So paano natin siya i-develop? Ang story idea usually para siyang, seed. Para siyang buto, no, na itatanim natin. Okay, so para siyang buto na itatanim natin, and then para mapatupo natin ito or mapalago, kailangan nating i-determine kung ano yung genre nito, sino-sino yung mga characters, ano yung conflict, yung problem, at yung setting. So, bakit importante na malaman natin itong mga bagay nito? So, kapag nalaman natin yung genre, determining the genre or identifying the genre will lead us to limit the language. So, nalalaman natin kung hanggang saan lang ba yung kailangan natin isulat, anong klaseng mga pananalita ba yung dapat natin gamitin. So, pumapasok din doon yung ating content rating. So, nalalaman natin kung may SPG ba ito. Kasi kung teen fiction, bawal mong haluan ng mga salita na possible na hindi pwede, ng mga salita na hindi pwede sa mga teenagers or hindi pwede sa mga bata. It also guides conflict and themes. So kapag teen fiction yan, alam natin na yung mga conflict usually ay family matters, friendship, school. It also guides story expectations. So alam natin kung ano yung makikita natin sa story based on the genre. Pag nakilala natin yung mga character, ganun din, i-identify nito yung narrative POV o yung POV na pwede natin gamitin. So tayo ba ay magpa-first person, magsa-third person, magsa-second person, so makakapili tayo. It will also help us identify yung language patterns na tinatawag. Paano ba magsasalita si character kung siya ay naka-first person POV? Paano ba natin ikukwento kung tayo ay naka-third person POV? I-guide din nun yung ating conflict and yung ating themes, no? Kung external o internal. Tungkol ba ito sa kanyang mga problema sa buhay? Teka lang ha. Ayan, tungkol ba ito sa kanyang mga problema sa buhay? Tungkol ba ito sa family matters? Tungkol ba ito sa kanyang development as a person, etc. It will also guide the scenes. So makikita natin anong mga eksena yung natitrigger ni character. It will also guide story expectations. Ang haba nung pinrepair ko, di ba? Para daldalin kayo. Oh my God. So, concept of storyline, kapag atin ding na-determine kung ano yung conflict o problem, nalalaman natin gaano kalaki yung story arc or gaano kalaki yung story. Makikita natin paano natin ito isusulat, yung story flow and development, paano natin ilalagay yung message na gusto natin, paano natin ilalatag yung analogy or yung symbols. Tapos, i-guide din nun yung narrative papunta sa ending. Kasi pag alam natin kung ano yung problema, meron tayong target na kailangan makarating tayo problem na yon, kailangan natin maibigay yung problema na yon para makarating tayo sa ending or masolve natin yung problem. And determining the setting, identifying the setting of the story, will also give us ideas how to work with the characters. So magkakaroon tayo ng mga idea kung anong mga eksena ba yung kailangan natin isulat or dapat natin isulat. Nagiging external stimulus din siya ng sub-conflict mo, conflict mo, mga twist, at mga story development. So, mula sa concept mo, sa isang maliit na spark, pag na-identify natin yung genre, nagiging puno siya. So, ano yung sample nito? So, ang first book ko po sa Bliss ay Kiss You. So, ang Kiss You, kapag inilatag natin from concept to storyline, isa siyang low concept story kasi common yung story nito eh. Pero, iba kasi yung execute na, okay, the guy kissed the girl, pero sabi ni guy, wala daw meaning. So, gulong-gulo si girl. Ano ang genre nito? Young adult or teen fiction? Naka first person POV po tayo. Or ang ginamit ko ay yung girl kasi kapag ginamit ko yung third person, malalaman na natin agad kung the characters are neighbors or childhood friends. Ang setting ay nasa school at yung kanilang famous na compound. And then, ang conflict ay yung pagiging familiar nila sa isa't isa at yung family setup. Ang problem, nung nagkaroon ako ng story, not pala a problem, pero ang surprise, nung nasulat ko yung Kiss You, na-realize ko, hindi pala siya standalone. Isa pala siyang series. Kasi yung kapatid ni girl, meron siyang kwento. So, ano yung series? Para malaman natin kung ang ating story ay series, makikita natin na meron silang pagkakapareho sa isa't isa. So, pwedeng pareho sila ng pinagtataniman, kagaya ng ating flower na nasa isang lagayan. Pwedeng pare-pareho silang plants na nasa pot, o pwedeng pare-pareho silang plant na nasa garden. So, ibig sabihin, may bagay na nag-hold sa kanila. May bagay na pare-pareho sa kanila. At yung pare-pareho na yon, it's either yung character mo, yung setting mo, yung conflict mo, o yung theme. So, story ko sa aking series na Candy series, ito yung aking second book, mga kabayan. Sa aking Candy series, ang pare-pareho sa kanila ay yung kanilang setting, yung kanilang genre, at yung kanilang conflict. So the conflict is always familiarity. The conflict is always internal. So, ito po yung aking second story. So, another topic na binigay po sa akin, sana kaya na oras, judging the book by its cover. So, paano ba tayo gagawa ng book cover? So, ang cover natin ay na-influence po ng, again, the genre. Anong genre mo? Kung pang teen fiction, yung vibe dapat pang teen fiction. Kung mature, dapat yung mature, mabilis nating makilala yung mga cover kasi madalas, di ba, madilim, sexy, brutal, minsan may gun, minsan may cigar, ganyan. So, na-influence din siya ng story tone or vibe, kung ano yung laman ng kwento mo, kung ano yung mood ng kwento mo. Ano yung story setting, yung symbols ng story, yung theme, at syempre ng publishing platform. So, bakit sinabing publishing platform? Kapag ipapublish natin ang ating story online, kailangan natin maging mindful dun sa laki ng title ng ating story kasi kailangan makita siya sa isang maliit na size, sa thumbnail size. So thumbnail is your thumbnail size. So kapag ganito kalaki ang yung story cover, mababasa ba yung iyong title? So yun yung ating i-consider. Then kapag printed na siya, ano yung itsura niya? So sa aking series, ang aking online series ay ganito ang itsura, ano? So ang theme nila is, dahil candy series is very candy. So candy colors and then yung mga pagkain kasi yung compound ay mahilig sila sa celebration and sa pagkain. And then nung nakatrabaho ko na ang Bliss books para i-print ang aking stories, ayan, ginawa namin na ganun pa rin, no? Very candy and very cool at maganda yung kulay, no? Asan na yun? Hindi makita yung control yan. And then lastly, for the teasers, kapag maglalagay tayo ng teaser sa ating story, we have to consider the point of view, the story hook, the catchphrase, and yung marketability. Alamunan ko. Marketability ng ating story. So, ayun po. Sana pwede ko pa yung madaldal, pero ayan. So, remember, pag gagawa tayo ng teasers or maglalagay tayo ng teaser sa ating libro, lagi nating isipin kung ano yung point of view na ginamit mo sa story, baka mas maganda na ganun din yung iyong teaser. So, yung akin, naka first person, ang teaser ng aking mga story sa book version ay naka first person din. Tapos, ano yung hook, no? Wag nating ibigay lahat. Iba yung synopsis sa teaser or blurb. And then, we also have to consider yung marketability. Pag binasa ba to ng potential reader mo, bibilhin niya ba or hindi? So, ayun po. At ayan, narating tayo sa dulo in 10 minutes. And ayan po. Thank you so much. At salamat sa pagdaldal,
Thank you so much, Jen, for those very insightful writing tips. Again, I'd like to remind everyone that you will enjoy a special 10% discount on her books, Kiss You and Secretly, when you buy from National Bookstore's website and official Shopee store from September 25 to October 4 only. And by the way, we are also live on Shopee. So for viewers there, you may check out our other available books and click add to cart and check out now. Limited stocks available. So after Jen, I'd like to introduce our next panelist. She is a published author, a Wattpad star, and a political science major. She started writing in 2015, went under hiatus sometime in 2018, and came back to writing in 2020 when she got a publishing deal for her novel, Reading Love. Other than writing, she is usually involved in social-political discussions and advocates for mental health awareness, the welfare of the indigenous people, the LGBT community, and local farmers and activists. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Maria Lea. Hello, Lea. How are you?
Hello po. Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes, we can. I can hear you, Lea. We can hear you. I believe that you're ready with your presentation, so please take it away.
So, hello everyone. It's my first time speaking for the PRWF, and I am truly grateful to be able to share my knowledge and insights about different topics on writing. So, first and foremost, one of the basic questions of being a writer is that how do I start writing my stories? Well, just like many other writers, I start writing by making an outline. Um, in this outline, usually it's bulleted form, and then I also do some research. But other than that, I make chapter summaries. My chapter summaries look like a 100 to 200 word narration in third person's point of view. It shows what I want to do with each chapter. For me, there are writers who love to be spontaneous, but for me, I want my works to be properly planned. Like, I want to have an overview of my story from start to finish so I can see which parts can still be modified and to see if there are any plot holes. And as a writer, outlining, researching, and making chapter summaries before you start a story is important because if I were to make different worlds and characters, I want to make sure that I am able to shape them and form them. I shape them into their best form to and not let my emotions suppress the potential of the story. And next is writing based on real life. I'm only 20 years old, so for a student like me who is into new adult fiction, I wasn't really able to tap much into my experience, but I've written a few scenes where I let my readers learn a thing or two about life and relationships. But while I do write a few scenes based on real life, I don't really pattern my stories on real life people. I usually get inspiration from characters of other works of fiction. And next topic is writing during quarantine. Since we're on quarantine, um, staying at home doesn't really mean that we get to have stable mental health. One of the struggles of being a writer is writer's block. Um, I get questions like, paano hindi ma-writer's block? But for me, I think, quarantine man or hindi, as a writer, darating ka talaga dyan. And overcoming writer's block depends on your priority. Kasi I'm not a full-time writer, so I'm just a student. And kapag kaya inaatake ako ng writer's block, I just rest, I watch movies, I listen to songs, ganyan. For to tell you, I needed a 2-year break from writing before I was able to come back this year. So to aspiring writers out there, don't put so much pressure in yourself. Writer's block is a common situation for writers. It is not a failure. So don't be afraid to go through it. Also, this quarantine is new to a lot of us, and it has pros and cons to us writers. For me, as a student, what's good about this quarantine is that I get to have a lot of time to write. I was able to finish 2 novels during this quarantine, so that's 80 chapters in 6 months. Since the wait, but although I labeled this as an advantage or a good thing, this prolonged quarantine and having a lot of time to write is a bad indication, of course, because this means that the government's COVID-19 response is ineffective, which brings us to the disadvantage of this quarantine to us writers. Um, for me, not being able to go out and see my friends and getting occasional anxiety plus frustration with what's happening with the prolonged quarantine, I don't really enjoy writing that much. I was able to finish 2 novels because I love writing them. But this quarantine took away like half of my enthusiasm in writing. The enjoyment that I felt before is I've never felt the enjoyment that I felt before writing during before the quarantine. Um, so if I have a realization in on writing that I can use even after this pandemic, then that would be the fact that a struggle of a writer will not end after this pandemic goes away. we will still see reasons to stop writing. But I believe that if you are able to write despite this unpleasant situation, believe yourself that you have been strong and resilient enough that you can battle the rest of the challenges of being a writer. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you so much for taking time to listen.
Thank you so much, Lay, for the writing tips that you gave to our audience this afternoon. And enjoy a special 10% discount on her book Reading Love when you buy from National Bookstore's website, which is www.nationalbookstore.com, and the official NBS store on Shopee from September 25 to October 4 only. Again, we are also live on Shopee, so for our viewers there, you may check out our other available books. So click add to cart and check out now, limited stocks only. So to keep the ball rolling, I'd like to introduce our last panelist for today. She is the author behind JS Stories and has no specific genre. She studied AV communication and worked as a teacher and an internet content coordinator before retiring due to some health issues. She is now a homebody, a scopist, and a freelance author. Please join me in welcoming Jamil Puma. Hi Jamil, are you there?
Hello po.
Hi
Hello.
Jamil, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. If you're ready with your presentation, I'll give you the floor.
Hi po. Hello. Hello. Hello po. Naririnig po? Naririnig po ba?
Hi Jamil, yes. We
Hello,
can hear you.
naririnig po ba?
Go ahead. Yes, Jamil, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, my name is Jamil Fuma. I'm the author behind the username JF Stories on Wattpad. Kung paano ako nag-start, so ito yon. I started writing when I was in grade school. Before, I did not pay much attention to writing. Only this past few years, I decided to write again. I started to write and posted stories in Wattpad, and now I'm part of their paid program. I am grateful to have that opportunity. I also have published books in different publishing companies in the country. So, how did I get noticed with these publishing companies? Uh, I really, I don't really remember. Maybe because I'm persistent. Kasi ganun dapat, di ba? If you have goals, I started with few followers and supporters with zero reads, zero votes, and zero comments. But I did not stop. I didn't give up. Bakit? Kasi I love what I'm doing. So I kept on writing with all my heart until I gained more readers. Right now, I'm a full-time writer. Dito na umiikot ang mundo ko. Aside from novels, scripts, my books, writing became my source of income as I'm making money from my books and paid stories online and other projects. Napaka-grateful ko kasi before nag-work ako, nahihirapan akong lumabas ng bahay, hirap akong makisalamuha, takot akong lumabas mag-isa. So ngayon, nasa bahay na lang ako forever. Okay, I write in different reading online platforms. I publish books in traditional publishing and also do self-publishing. I am happy to write not just because I'm making money on writing, but also because this is my passion. Plus, with the money I earn doing this passion, I am happy to be able to support some organizations. And in this pandemic, syempre, mahirap ang pagpapromote ng online stories and published books. Pero Sa panahong ito kasi natin kailangan ang magbasa. Magandang pagkakataon ito to read in the comfort of our home. Kailangan ng taong mag-relax, visit the fiction world. So I post exciting spoilers, part of the story on social media to get the people's attention, to excite them, to lure them uh, to visit the platforms where I am posting the whole updates of my stories. This same goes with the promotion of my published books. So, malaking tulong ng social media kasi along with the rise of the internet, came the arrival of social media. Writers can now get in touch and gain feedback quickly from their readers. Isang malaking tulong ito sa mga millennial writers na katulad ko. Parang I am updating my readers online by continuous updates of my posted online stories. I want my readers to know that despite this pandemic, I am still writing, I am still here, that I still want to entertain them. In this pandemic kasi, ang pinaka-challenging sa mga authors dahil alam naman nating nakaka-depress ang panahong ito. Ako bilang author, magulo ang isip ko sa panahong ito. Pero iniisip ko na maswerte pa rin ako dahil nga writer and reader ako. I can always escape reality with fiction. Iyon ang drive ko para maiwasan ang hirap ng pandemic. I visit different kinds of dimensions by reading and writing, and I'm encouraging all the readers to do the same. And of course, about bashers and the haters, hindi sila nawawala. How to deal with them? My simple advice and what I always do is whatever you heard or read from the bashers, do not take it personally and do not panic. It is normal that you cannot please everybody. Also, you can try treating your bashers and the haters as constructive critics. It is way better rather than paying attention to the negative side of it. And how to engage your readers. How to engage my readers to my stories. I make sure that your first chapter is error-free to encourage people to keep reading your works. Kasi pag nakita nila umpisang chapter pa lang, parang ang gulo, may mali. So, yung iba, umaatras na sila. So, yun, kailangan. So, umpisa pa lang, pakita mo na yung story mo, mahuhook sila kasi malinis. Nakita nila sa umpisa pa lang, binuhos mo na yung lahat mo. And also, remember to add a story description. Bigyan nyo ng maiksing idea ang readers kung tungkol saan yung story. Make sure na gagawin mong description na exciting and thrilling. Huwag ibigay lahat sa description. Para ka lang nagbigay ng kapirasong information na cliffhanger ang dulo, yung mai-excite sila kung ano yung laman ng story mo. So, that's all. Thank you. Again, I am Jamil Fuma.
Thank you, Jamil. I saw in the comment section that a lot of your fans were excited to hear from you. So to her fans, enjoy a special 10% discount on our books, The Untold Story of Ara, Casa Inferno, and His Queen when you buy from National Bookstore's website, which is www.nationalbookstore.com, and the official NBS store on Shopee from September 25 to October 4. And again, we are also live on Shopee. So for viewers there, you may check out our available books and click add to cart and check out now because limited stocks are available. And we'll now go to the most exciting part of today's event, which is the open forum. I'm sure you're excited to hear more from your favorite Bliss authors. We have prepared a few questions for our 3 Bliss book authors. So the first question is, what do you think is the biggest misconception on Wattpad and its writers, and how do you want to overcome or change this? So I guess let's start with Jen first, with The Cat Who Doesn't Meow.
Ayun. So hello again mga kabayan. No? Yung question, no? Ang ganda ng question kasi ito yung laging gusto kong pinamamalita sa mga tao. So, one of the misconception sa mga Wattpad writers ay, hindi nga pala one, no? Isa, writers are not serious writers. So, dahil wala kaming tayong background sa writing, kanyan, so hindi tayo talaga nag-aral ng creative writing or walang formal education about it. So, tapos yung iba sinasabi pa na nagsusulat sila sa Wattpad because bored or dahil hobby nila o dahil may free time. So, ang tingin ng mga tao, hindi kami seryosong writer. So, that's not true. And number two, stories are poorly written. So, dahil nasa Wattpad yan, hindi yan maganda. Wala yan quality. Hindi yan pasok sa publishing standard. Ganyan. So, ano yung gusto ko sanang maitama dito sa mindset na ito, sa thinking na ito? Ako man po ay wala rin po akong background sa writing. Ang akin pong course ay broadcasting. So, medyo malayo. Hindi po creative writing. Pero gusto ko nang magsulat since 9 years old ako at nag-aral po ako ng maraming bagay about writing. So technical side, creative side, ano yung mga pwede ko pang malaman about it hanggang naging editor na po ako. So sa ngayon, nagtatrabaho po ako as an editor. So seryoso ba akong nagsusulat? Yes. I research my stories para credible siya. Gumagamit ako ng proper characterization. So inaaral ko yung profession ng characters ko, inaaral ko yung kanyang environment, inaaral ko yung mundo, nag-world build ako, gumagamit ako ng maayos na setting. At kapag ang character ko, pag sinabing mayaman, gusto ko tunog mayaman siya. Ayoko na mayaman siya, pero parang hindi. Ayoko nung ganon. Okay, so yung stories na ganito, like kung sinasabi sa mga nakakausap ko din na ibang writers at sa mga aspiring writers, if you want to be taken seriously, then you take your work seriously too. Wag mo laging ikakatwira na fiction naman kasi yan, so okay lang. Kahit hindi ganun ka-credible yung data ko, kahit hindi ako mag-fact check, okay lang. No, if you want people to take you seriously, you take your work seriously. So put in the work. So please po, it only takes you parang konting panahon lang po to give us a chance, kami ng mga Wattpad writers. Please open a book, yung mga published na po, especially Bliss books. Mabibili niyo po yung sa National Bookstore. So try it po. Open a book, read a little, and then you tell us po kung meron pa kaming kailangan gawin or kailangan improve kasi we're very willing to listen. We're very willing to learn. Kasi po mga baguhang writers kami, hindi po kami nag-aral, pero gusto po naming matuto because we take this art seriously. So sana po wala na yung misconception na gano'n. So ayun po.
Thank you, Jen, for that very inspiring and passionate answer. Now let's hear from Lei. Okay, so what do you think is the biggest misconception about Wattpad and its writers, and how do you want to change it?
For me is isa sa mga nalalaman kong misconception tungkol sa Wattpad is that wala raw substance yung mga stories dito. Well, pero kung titignan sa libo-libong stories sa Wattpad, marami dyan yung tumatalakay sa mga social issues, meron din diyang tumatalakay sa class struggle, mental health, pro-LGBT advocacies. So, gaya ng sabi ni Miss Jen, kailangan lang nilang bigyan ng chance yung mga Wattpad writers kasi karamihan sa amin, passion talaga yung pagsusulat and willing naman kaming mag-grow and mag-improve. Ganyan. Thank you.
Thank you, Lei. Now let's hear it from Jamil. Jamil, what can you say about the question? What is the biggest misconception about Wattpad and its writers, and how do you want to change it? Jamil, can you hear me? I think you're on mute. Very.
Some people believes that Wattpad is just a waste of time for the millennials, given the browsing time, and some also believes that Wattpad is all about sexual stories without good plot and lessons at all. Hindi yun totoo. There's a lot of good and entertaining stories in Wattpad. May it be adult stories, horror, sci-fi, and the authors in Wattpad are doing their best to cater to all kinds of readers. So Wattpad is not a waste of time. It's an opportunity to relax, escape the real world kahit sandali. But I believe that you can never please everybody, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So I will just focus on doing my craft, writing stories, working to be better, just like other authors in Wattpad. Kasi unti-unti naman nag-i-improve lahat and unti-unti makikita nila yon. So, para na sa kanila yun para makita nila yung pagbabago. Kasi lahat naman nagsisimula sa simula. So, ayun po.
Thank you, Jen. And thank you, everyone, for giving your most honest and insightful answer to our first question. For the second question, I'm really curious what your answers will be as an author. No? Do you think printed books are dying because of the easy access of reading materials online? What can you say? Let's start with Lei. What can you say about this topic, Lei? Do you agree that printed books are dying?
I don't think so kasi um, yung mga afford talagang bumili ng libro, mas pinipili pa rin nilang bumili talaga kaysa magbasa lang online. And sa mga kaedad ko, mga 20s, ganyan, mga teenager, yung mga ganyan, yung iba pinag-iipunan talaga nilang bumili ng libro bilang suporta sa mga minamahal nilang manunulat. So I think dahil sa Wattpad, mas naiengganyo yung kabataan na bumili talaga ng physical book. Yun po.
Thank you, Lei. How about JF? Do you think printed books are dying, or you agree or disagree?
Disagree. No, I know some of the readers out there are still into printed books. Kagaya nga po ng sinusuportahan nila yung mga writers na kilala nila. Kasi marami pa rin pong bookworms, book lovers, book collectors. Kasi iba pa rin po yung pakiramdam ng meron kang libro. As a reader, ako po gusto ko kahit merong ebook or online stories, meron pa rin akong copy ng libro. Kasi for me, it's more romantic to have a physical book with you. Mas iba yung emotional connection. This is my opinion that with printed books, you have real genuine ownership. Parang ganun po. So, yun. But reading online, okay na okay rin. Depende lang po sa pangangailangan, sitwasyon. So, for me, magkasama pa rin sila. Ayun po.
Thank you, Jamil. Now let's hear it from the cat who doesn't meow. Jen, what do you think about this issue or this question?
I don't think po na printed books ay dying na kasi sobrang gusto talagang mag-collect ng mga readers ng libro na physical books. Kasi imagine, ang Wattpad sobrang laking site, tapos ang daming stories, tapos ang daming laman ng library nila. So ang dami nilang nababasa. Pero paglabas ng libro, mas excited pa sila sa author. So kakalampagin pa nila kami na, andyan na ba? May book cover na ba? May book reveal na ba? Pwede na ba naming makita? Sobra silang excited. And then, sobra akong na-amaze kasi nakakilala din ako ng mga readers na when they buy books, hindi lang isa. Pag bumili sila, dalawa or tatlo, kasi yung isa daw pang display sa shelf, tapos yung isa yung babasahin nila kasi yun yung naluluma. So parang gusto nila ng copy na yun yung dinedisplay nila, yun yung pinipicture nila, yung ganyan. So parang ako sana all, di ba? Nakakabili ng dalawa or tatlo. But ganun kalaki yung pagmamahal ngayon ng mga readers sa books. Tapos dahil yun sa na cultivate ulit or na ipagpatuloy ni Wattpad yung parang reading culture, parang bumalik yung reading culture ng mga kabataan natin hanggang sa mga mature na sa mga kaedad ko na. Yes, hindi na kabataan, sa mga kaedad ko na. So ayun po, I don't think it's dying.
Thank you, Jen. Actually, I agree with the three of you. As a reader myself, I think people would want to have a piece of ownership dun sa nabasa nilang material online. That's why they would still want to buy a printed copy of the stories that they fell in love with. Now, let's go to the last question. What is your advice for writers who are having a hard time with their stories? Now, let's start with Shamil. What is your advice for writers who are having a hard time with their stories? O yung may mga writers na?
Just write po. Lahat kasi nagsimula naman sa wala. So, mas maganda na magsimula sa wala. Kasi if you want to make something, you must never give up. working for it, kahit gaano kahirap, you must keep on believing that you can reach your goal, whatever goal you have in writing. Even there are days where you lose faith in yourself, you must never give up kasi sayang yung simula mo. Ayun po.
Thank you, Jamil. How about Jen, the cat who doesn't meow? What writing tips can you give to writers who are having a hard time with their story?
Ang pinakamasasabi ko po siguro syempre meron tayong notion na passion natin yung writing, so parang dapat laging fun, dapat laging masaya. But that's not actually the case, So kahit passion natin ito, kahit mahal natin yung pagsusulat, don't expect it to be fun all the time. Kasi maraming time na, 'di ba, magdo-double check ka ng words, mas-stress kasi yung character mo hindi sumusunod sa gusto mong mangyari, or biglang nagbago yung plot or nagbago yung conflict. So anything can happen. Tapos may writer's block pa tayo na tinatawag. Siyempre, tao ka rin, okay? Kahit mahal na mahal mo yung pagsusulat, marami pang ibang bagay sa paligid mo, di ba? Meron kang family, meron kang buhay sa labas ng pagsusulat. So, you have a life outside of writing. So, wag mong masyadong i-pressure yung sarili mo na kailangan by this time, ito na yung goal ko or makuha ko tong lahat ng goals na to. Kailangan mabuhay ako na kagaya ng mga paborito kong writer. It's okay to look up to your idols. Pero always remember, iba yung journey mo, iba rin yung journey ng mga iniidolo mo. So, kumuha ka ng lesson sa iyong mga iniidolo, pero kumuha ka ng inspirasyon sa iyong mga iniidolo, pero wag mong masyadong dikdikin yung sarili mo. So, when you're having a hard time, you pause and then recognize mo ano yung problema, ano yung mali, ano yung kailangan mong makita para mabalikan mo kung ano yung mga dapat mong gawin. So, you pause, you take a time to relax, magpahinga ka, and then you go back. Kasi, ang writing as a passion, hindi ka tatantanan yan. Forever and forever kang susundan niya. So, okay, don't expect it to be fun all the time. And if you need a break, you take a break, and then you go back and you grind again. So, ayun po.
Thank you so much, Jen, for that very helpful writing tip. Now, let's go to Maria Lea. What can you say about the question?
Always seek for solutions. I believe writing kasi takes time and effort. So you can research about it or ask your co-writers, ganyan. Also, there will be hard times that you cannot control, but don't be so hard on yourself if you cannot solve your writing problems right away. Also, reading some other books can actually help you improve. So if you're up for some quality novels, and you can check out Bliss books on national bookstore branches near you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lay, and thank you for including that promo. Unfortunately, I think that's all the time we have left for questions. And thank you very much to our three Bliss authors who joined us today. But before we say goodbye, I would like to ask our panelists if they have a final message for everyone who joined us today. So let's start with the cat who doesn't meow, followed by Maria Lea, and finally, Jamil Fuma. So Jen?
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being with us sa ating pagdadaldalan. At I hope na everyone is safe. So, salamat sa pagsama sa amin. Meron na po akong 2 libro under ng Bliss Books, that is Kiss You and Secretly. It's a series. May 3 pa po hintayin. At kung hindi na makapaghintay, pwede tayong bumili online sa National Bookstore. You can check out all our stories sa National Bookstore website and sa National Bookstore page. At doon pa lang po, matutulungan nyo na kami at ma-inspire nyo na kami na makapagsulat pa at makasama nyo ang aming mga kwento. So maraming salamat po sa opportunity na makasama kayo ngayon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen. It was a pleasure to have you today. Now let's go to Lay.
Sa mga nanood, yes, thank you so much sa mga sumubaybay, and sa mga writers, good luck on writing. I know you can do it. And sa mga readers naman, thank you so much for undying support. And to my non-Marians, I hope you can grab a copy of Bleeding Love, still available online. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lay. Now let's hear it from Jamil Fuma. Jamil?
sa lahat po ng nanood ng live today. Maraming salamat po sa paglalaan ng oras. Sobrang nakakatuwa, and gamitin ko na rin po yung time na to para i-promote yung bagong labas ko po na book. One of my vampire romance series, Daybreak, Fall for You, is soon to be in bookstores nationwide. And soon as you can make a pre-order na po sa National Bookstores website. 199 only for that big book. It is uncut and with additional scenes inside. Also, may iba pa po akong books sa National Bookstores. Horror paranormal books, The Untold Story of Ara, Another Daybreak series, His Queen, at marami pa pong aabangan na paparating. Again, maraming salamat po.
Ang gagaling mag-promote ang mga Bliss books authors natin, and I'm so happy. Again, in behalf of Wattpad and Bliss books, thank you very much to the cat who doesn't meow, Maria Leia and Jamil Fuma. And on behalf of National Bookstore and Anvil Publishing, we want to thank all of you for joining us today. Please shop for our books on www.nationalbookstore.com and on the official NBS store in Shopee. Again, you can get 10% off on local books and 20% off on imported books when you shop online from September 25 to October 4 only. So add to cart, check out now because limited stocks are available. There are more virtual events coming up for the 2020 Philippine Readers and Writers Festival. Check out the complete lineup by visiting www.readersandwritersfestival.com or following NBS on Facebook at NBS Alert and on Instagram at National Bookstore. Once again, this is Ryan Benitez. Thank you very much for joining us today. Keep safe and follow your bliss. Good night.
At Wattpad, we believe in the power of stories, the way they shape how we think, the new worlds they create for us to inhabit. From what we read every day, to the movies we watch, to the way brands reach their audience, stories are the anchor behind everything we care about. And Wattpad is where stories live. It's where millions of people around the globe go to connect over the stories they love, and where millions of diverse writers go to find their voice and share their story. Entertainment is in a period of disruption, and how people find and experience stories is evolving. When it comes to turning stories into the entertainment world's next big hit, Wattpad Studios is transforming the entire industry. By leveraging powerful data, our story DNA machine learning technology, and expert curation, Wattpad Studios shines a light on emerging writers, enabling them to find an even bigger audience by connecting their stories with studios, networks, and publishers on the hunt for their next big hit in books, big screens, small screens, and streaming. When a new title is ready to launch, that's where Wattpad brand partnerships comes in. Using a mix of innovative ad products and tailored engagement strategies like writing challenges and contests, Wattpad is able to meaningfully promote these entertainment properties to our already hyper-engaged audience. When Wattpad brand partnerships reignites our audience's love of these stories, these titles achieve mainstream success, making even more of our writers' dreams come true and leading to even more stories on the platform. Because budding storytellers are inspired to become writers, and more readers are able to find their newest story obsession. Wattpad, where stories live. At Wattpad, we believe in